We are going to start out using a wall today. So those of you at home, go ahead and just bring your mat somewhere close to a wall. Those of you in studio, I've already given that instruction, but make sure you're close to the wall. And have a blanket. We'll use that blanket a little bit later on. But let's come down onto our backs here. And we'll start it with some legs up the wall this morning. So if you position yourself against any wall, just go ahead and lay back onto your back. Take your legs, swing your legs right up the wall. And you want to have your sit bones close enough to the wall here that you don't feel like you're locking out your knees. You don't feel like you're so far away that you're kind of buckling your knees. But at the same time, you want to be far enough away from the wall that you don't feel like you're lifting your hips. So a little bit of a finagle. Yes. Well, I mean, there's debating evidence, but yes, most people do say yes, because you're not really lifting that part. So, yep. So legs up the wall, you can have your feet as close together or as far apart as you would like. So for most people, having your feet about hips width distance apart, that's just going to be the most natural, most neutral position of your hips. But if you want to take your legs out a little bit wider this morning, go ahead and just take up some space. That is all fair game. So again, just figure out how close to or how far from the wall you want to be, whatever it is that feels okay on your body. You do also have that folded blanket. So if you'd like to elevate the hips, that's also an option, especially if your low back does feel a little bit achy this morning. You can always go ahead and do that. But otherwise, just get settled. So take a moment to make sure that your neck, that your head, that your arms, that your shoulders are also comfortably positioned. So really no right or wrong in terms of how you set up that part of your body. Your arms can be wide apart, can be close together, can have your hands resting on your torso. Again, whatever it is, it just feels easy, that feels natural, that feels good to your body today. And try to let your back body just be nice and heavy. So you're just sort of melting your way down into whatever it is that you're laying on. You're allowing your eyes to softly close. And you're allowing your breath to go a little bit stronger here. So first off, just noticing your breath in your body. Starting to breathe a bit more deeply. And just giving yourself a chance here, feeling the breath really start to take over. So instead of the breath being more of a background kind of thing, just this process that happens that most of the time we're not that aware of. Start to move your breath to the forefront here. So you're really starting to feel it. That awareness is starting to build. You become not only aware of the breath, but you really become a part of it. You really feel it. You notice how physically it affects your body. It moves tissues. You can feel that movement within, that little brush in the back of your throat. And then on the flip side, just noticing more of the mental and the energetic piece to the breath here as well. So by tuning out some of the thoughts, by tuning more inward to your breath, typically that'll start just letting our mind become a little bit slower, a little bit less busyness, a little bit less stress in the brain. And we actually become more present. We actually start to just connect more with the moment. So actually being aware of our bodies in space right here, right now. So just let yourself settle, let yourself sink in. Allow yourself to truly just melt into stillness. I'm going to take a few moments of quiet here, and I really just encourage you to find some way to connect here with your breath, with your body. So whether it is simply observing and feeling and noticing the breath, maybe it's something a little bit more specific. You start to tune into the heartbeat. You start to add something like a mantra to your breath. So if the brain is maybe a little bit busier today, adding a mantra, something a little bit more concrete that you can connect to, meaning every time you inhale, you silently repeat just a word or a short phrase, something meaningful. And or every time you exhale, Again, just a word or a short phrase, perhaps something that you're trying to let go of, something that you're trying to release. So we'll be here for about another 10 breaths. If at any point you need to reposition any part of your body, please make sure that you are still feeling comfortable. Otherwise, lay back, settle in and breathe. Let's take one more big breath, just the deepest breath you can take. And if you're okay with breath retention, pause just a moment, hold the breath. Take a tiny sip more air. And your biggest exhale. Just let every single drop go, and then take a moment, just slowly let your legs crawl back down the wall. You can just let your feet either rest onto the wall for a few breaths, or you can take hold of your legs and hug your knees in towards your chest. But just notice any little sensations. You might feel a little bit tingly in the feet. Feel free to give a couple little rolls to your ankles, maybe scrunch the toes. Again, just encourage a little bit more blood flow into that area. Take another big breath. We're going to stay against the wall for just one more little piece here. So do scoot just a little bit further away. So you want to back up just a little bit so that you're able to rest the soles of your feet onto the wall comfortably and have your knees pretty much above your hips. So you want to be able to do about a 90-degree bend to your knees, knees above hips, feet on the wall. And we'll start in a pigeon variation here. So a great way to get into the outer hips a little bit. You're going to start with your left leg just straight up the wall, flex your right foot, and then take that right ankle onto the left thigh. So you're making that figure 4 shape here with the leg. Right ankle onto that left thigh. Now you do want to keep your right foot a little bit flexed. And then from here, you can start to lower that left foot. So the left foot, instead of having the leg straight, you can start to slide that left foot down the wall a little bit, or a lot, until you feel a stretch into your right outer hip. Now, if you can bend the knee all the way down to 90 degrees and you're just not feeling much in that right outer hip, feel free to scoot in a little bit closer. You just don't want to have your knee too much further back behind your hip. And then a couple of options. I always like to take my right hand here, acting like a little kickstand. Use the right hand to help support that right leg so that rather than the knee rolling in towards your body, it kind of rolls away from your body. And if there's a way to, again, this is all proportions, so kind of arm bone length versus leg bone length, but if there's a way to keep your right elbow and shoulder on the floor while doing this, that's going to keep some of that strain out of your body as well. So if you kind of prop it up like a little kickstand, and then just lay back. So we really want to start to feel a little bit more space here through that right outer hip, through that right glute, areas of the body that oftentimes tend to be tight, tend to be tense. And then as you lay back, so this particular variation of pigeon, obviously a little bit less intense on some of the joints. So we're not putting any of that body weight onto our knees. We're able to target the same stretch, the same muscles, but in a more gentle way on our bodies. So now You just get to lay back and take a moment to try to soften your jaw, try to make sure that your breath is still flowing just as easily, just as evenly as it was when you were laying legs up the wall. Then pay attention. So the longer we hold these postures, the more that things start to just shift and change within your body. So if you start to notice that things have gotten a little bit easier and this right outer hip is maybe loosening up a touch, you can always slide the left foot a little bit lower or move your body a touch closer to the wall. Otherwise, about another 6 to 8 breaths. So again, just lay back and take your sweet time with the breath. There's no rush. Just lay back, settle in. Take another big breath. And then as you're ready, lengthen that left leg up the wall once again so that we can safely unhook the right. Bring both feet to the wall and just pause for a breath. Let everything just kind of reset. Nice big breath in and out. And as you're ready, we'll flex the left foot and we're going to do the same thing. So the left ankle now crosses onto the right thigh. Make sure you're not on the knee or on the actual thigh. Keep the left foot a little bit flexed and then slowly start to bring that right foot a little bit lower down the wall, keeping in mind it might not come to the same height as the left foot. This hip might be a little tighter, might be a little looser, might feel different. So just stop at a point where you feel comfortable amount of stretch, making sure hips, tailbone stay on the floor, making sure that everything just feels okay in your body. And again, consider using that left hand to act as a little kickstand, helping to support the leg. And then once you're there, once you're set up, just close your eyes and breathe. We get to come back to that space of just indulging a little time to really be present and really be in the body. Again, no agendas, no checklists, no things we're supposed to be doing. Instead, just breathe. Take some time here, really just giving a little self-care to the body, to the mind. Let's take about 2 more big breaths. And then on that next inhale, right leg high again. Let's unhook the left. Let's take one last little stretch here through the back of the legs. And then exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest. Now give a little squeeze. You can take a little rock here from side to side. Again, just a moment, roll out the ankles, shake the head no. Take another big breath in. Then as you exhale, roll over all the way onto either side. We're just going to slowly peel ourselves up onto all fours. So there is no rush. Take your time. Take your time coming up onto the hands and the knees. And then just land with your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and give a little reset to the spine. So obviously we've been on our backs for a little bit of time. So now just see if you can move your spine in a few different ways. Just reset a little bit through that back body. Try moving everything from the crown of the head down through the tailbone. Another big breath. And then take a moment, make sure those knees are roughly under your hips. You've got your hands under your shoulders. Spread a little bit into the fingers. See if you can soften your elbows. And then let's inhale the left leg back, the right hand forward. So just work on a little stability here around the core. So try to keep those abdominal muscles tightly engaged, not to the point that you're feeling stiff, not to the point that you feel like your breath is being constricted, but just to a point where you feel supported. Likewise, you want to keep that left elbow just a little bit soft. Again, we're trying to avoid getting stiff. Just allow yourself to be a little bit unsteady, a little bit wobbly. That is okay. Look down at your mat. Let's take another inhale. And then round the spine as you exhale. Let's curl in. Elbow and knee come together. So you're rounding that back, and inhale again. Find length. Reach and stretch long. Exhale, curl in. One more inhale here, big reach, big length. And then hand down as you exhale, step forward. Bring that left foot up between the hands. See if you can give just a couple little pulses here. So sink the hips forward and back. Just gonna check in with that right hip flexor, left hamstring. Take another breath. And then sinking nice and low into the hips. Let's inhale, push through the foot, stretch the arms overhead. Reach your hands into just a wide V here. So really do try to plug those shoulders in. Stay lifted through the chest without changing the shape of your spine. So we still want to keep that core on. That's going to help prevent us from finding too much of a back bend. Widen a lot through your toes. Just see if you can keep that left foot grounded, toes spread. Take another inhale. And then exhale, bring the hands down onto the mat. We're going to plug down into the hands and inhale to twist. So lift your back knee. Lift your left hand. So now your chest is turning towards your bent knee. Make sure that again that right wrist joint is under your shoulder, maybe a little further ahead of your shoulder, never behind. Keep your hips square, keep your hips low. Take one more big breath in. And then exhale, lower that left hand down. We're going to pivot to the right. So just take a little quarter turn over to the right so that you're facing the side of your space. You've got your feet pretty much parallel with one another, hands down on something. So if you can't comfortably reach the floor, put something under your hands, but just start to check in, start to shift a little bit from side to side here. So bend one knee pretty deeply as you drop your hips to that side, and then bend that other knee quite a bit as you drop your hips to that side. So again, just move back and forth. We'll take about 3 to 4 more big breaths here. So you can feel free to get in nice and low, nice and deep, but you can also just kind of use this as a check-in. So if things are feeling a little bit stiff, a little bit not happy this morning, just take it easy, be kind to your body. We're here to do really good things for our body. Let's take another breath. And then the next time you inhale, you're going to bend your left knee again. Pivot back this direction. So turn to face the front of your space once again. You can either stay up onto your fingertips for a little bit of extra space here or flatten the palms, but do try to sink the hips here, lift your chest just a touch. So a really strong, a really active lunge. Take one more breath in. And then do flatten your palms as you exhale, step into a plank. So that left foot is going to step back next to the right foot. Take a moment to soften your elbows. Take another big breath in. And then down to your belly as you exhale, feel free to drop your knees first. Keep the chest lightly moving forward as you lower. And as you come down, lengthen those legs back behind you. So see if you can really send the legs far back. Take your hands out just to the outer edges of your mat so they can come off onto the floor. And then perch up onto your fingertips. So again, proportions, but you want to have your hands roughly under your elbows here. And then a little modified cobra. Feel like that chest is pulling forward here. So you can push down into the hands a little bit. We're not forcing anything. Your gaze somewhat downwards. So try to look at the floor out in front of your mat. Push a little bit into the tops of your feet. Feel like your thighs are engaged. Take one more breath in. And then lower down as you exhale. You can stack your hands, giving yourself something to rest the forehead on, and then just a shake of the hips. Wag your tail a little bit from side to side. Take another big breath. And then on your next inhale, firm the belly. Let's take hands and slide them under shoulders. Hug elbows to ribs and exhale, push up to all fours. As you come up, you're going to walk your knees under your hips. Place your hands back under your shoulders. Give a good roll to your spine. Pause for a breath. Center your gaze and then find that strength here in your tabletop once again. So see if you can start to firm the core. Keep that core strong. Just soften your elbows, lengthen the back of the neck. And this time on your next inhale, your right leg goes back, your left hand reaches forward. So the palm of the hand faces inward, just like you're shaking somebody's hand. And again, it's so tempting to either hold the breath or to lock the elbow or to get tense and tight here. Just go with it. I've actually, well, I'm not going to jinx anything, but in my 15 years of teaching yoga, I've never seen anyone actually face plant in this pose. So if you get a little wobbly, I'm not saying one of us couldn't be the first, but if you get a little bit wobbly, just put your hand down if you start to feel out of control, but try again not to be stiff. If you wobble, it's okay. This is your body learning balance. This is your body getting stronger. Take another inhale and then round the spine as you exhale, elbow and knee together. Inhale again, take a long reach, big stretch. Exhale, curl in. One more, inhale, lengthen. And left hand down. As you exhale, right foot steps through, come into your lunge. Keep the hands down to start, give those couple little pulses. Really, we're getting again into that right hamstring, but also just kind of saying hello to the left hip flexor. So you might notice the front of the left hip. Take another breath. And then spread those right toes nice and wide. We're going to drop the hips low and inhale, reach the hands overhead. Again, plug those shoulders in. Activate a little bit through the hands, spreading the fingers, lengthening the back of the neck. And breathe. I want you to feel that breath in your rib cage. I want you to feel that breath in your body. A nice soft gaze. So we just let the eyes rest to one point, but a very soft way. Nothing intense. Take another breath in. And then exhale, sweep your hands down. Again, hands are going to frame that front foot. Tuck your back toes, and as you inhale to twist, lift the back knee, lift the right hand this time. Haven't really changed much with the legs, so the hips are still pretty squared forward. Chest turns, breath stays strong. We're going to still keep that breath just as steady, just as deep as we can. Take another big breath in. And then exhale, bring that right hand down. We're going to pivot this time to the left. So again, as you turn, you want to more or less match the feet with one another. And this time, as you're here, inhale and walk your hands forward a couple steps. So just bring your hands a little bit further forward and then exhale, really push your hips back. So try to feel the weight dropping into your heels, your hips pushing way back behind you, but hands far enough forward that you have a little bit of a grip here. So if things feel a little bit off, just try repositioning your hands. Again, it's a proportions thing. So kind of the length of the arms and spine versus length of your legs. So we all might be a little bit different in terms of positioning. But get to that point where you can really feel the weight heavy in your heels. You can push firmly into your hands, feeling the palms as if they're sliding forward. Take a couple more big breaths. Try to get just as much space, as much length through your back line as you can, through your spine, through your legs. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands in, perch up onto your fingertips. Let's find a long spine. And then bend your right knee. We're going to exhale, pivot back this way. So again, I want you to find that same strong runner's lunge. You can be up on your fingertips, lift your chest just a little bit, but sink your hips. I want you to feel it. I want you to use your legs here. Feel that strength. Take another breath. And then step forward on your next inhale. So feet land about parallel, soften your knees and just take a few breaths in a forward fold. So knees pretty bent so that your head can just drop heavy. This is also a good chance to release the neck a little bit if things are feeling tight. So nodding and shaking your head can be a good thing here. Obviously, if it feels a little bit too intense, you can just let the head drop, but otherwise a little movement can be good. You can also sway, rock the weight in your feet a little bit. Take another deep breath. And then inhale it halfway up. Find a long spine. We're going to bend the knees towards chair pose as you exhale. Try to just settle those hips back, knees behind toes, and reach the arms just straight out. Spiral the pinkies up a little bit. Put your shoulders in. So it doesn't have to be the lowest chair of your life. Let's just find a little bit of strength and stability here in through the legs. Again, keep that core strong. Try to set your gaze nice and steady. Let's take one more deep breath. And keeping the knees just micro bent, we inhale all the way up, just a tiny little back bend at the very top. You can lift the chest, lift the gaze, and then squeeze your core and exhale back to neutral. Circle the hands down to your heart. Find your Tadasana. Just take a moment, close your eyes and see if you can feel your foundation here. So feel the earth or the whatever you're standing on underneath these soles of your feet. Barefoot yoga outside would be nice, but whatever you're standing on, just feel that underneath your feet. Spread your toes a little bit. Really try to get a good grip, and then soften a little bit through that upper body. So we want to keep the legs, the core engaged, but really feel those shoulders sinking away from your ears. There's a slight lift to the chest, but still maintaining that nice natural spine. And then the deepest breath you can take. So if you can't take a super deep breath, let something go. Try to soften just a little bit here. We'll inhale, circle those hands overhead, take a long reach, and then bow forward on exhale. Let your knees bend, let your head drop, just hinge. Inhale it up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, now rise to standing. Use the strength of your legs and your feet. Sweep the hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, rise, lift up. And exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, deeper fold. Inhale all the way up. Find that big reach, that length. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale again, sweep the arms and lift. And exhale, dive forward. Inhale it up halfway. Come again to plank. As you exhale, your hands land on the mat, your feet step back. Take a deep breath in, and if you like, you can always lower to your knees. We're going to bend the elbows as you exhale. Now you can come down an inch, you can come all the way to 90 degrees, just a modified chaturanga here. Elbows squeeze in. And as you inhale, set the pelvis down, little cobra, pull the chest forward and up. And exhale, lower the nose back to floor. Twice more. As you inhale, minimal use in the hands, pull the chest forward and up. And exhale, lower. One more inhale here to rise. And exhale, lower down. Now stay here. Take a big breath in, try to hug your elbows a little closer to your body. And then push to all fours as you exhale, lifting up. Let's lower down to the elbows and forearms and take a breath in towards puppy. Let your tailbone lift, let your chest drop. Find a little extra length here through the spine. So just a really modified puppy. Let your chest, again, sort of sink down towards the mat, your tailbone lift high. Take one more breath in. And one more big breath out. That next inhale from the belly, press back to the hands and the knees. So root your hands back onto the mat. We're going to tuck our toes and now downward facing dog. As you exhale, take your hips up high. Give a big movement to your legs here. So pedal your legs, bend and straighten your knees. Try to make sure your feet are hips width distance apart, maybe wider. Especially if the hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight, take those feel a bit wider apart. Just like we did in that forward fold earlier, try to really spread your fingers, almost feel like you're trying to push your hands forward a little bit. About 3 more breaths. And on the next inhale, take a little bend into your knees. Look forward to your hands, and as you exhale, slowly crawl your feet up to your hands, tiptoeing back up to the top of your mat. We'll inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And now inhale, we rise, push down. Again, sweep those hands tall above the head. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, circle up. And exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway, lengthen here. And now right leg back on exhale, take that long runner's lunge and then lower the right knee down on the mat. Inhale, the hands stretch overhead. As you do, sink the hips low. Exhale into plank. Bring both of your hands onto the floor. Step your left foot back and then just pause. Again, soften your elbows. Big breath in as you puff that upper back. In downward dog, as you exhale, lift your hips. Inhale now your left leg to sky. So kick your left heel towards the ceiling. And exhale that left foot forward between the hands. This time, keep that back knee lifted and we'll inhale, rise to your fingertips, lift the chest just a touch. And then big step forward as you exhale, right foot joins left. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, anchor through the feet and lift the arms. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's take the opposite side. So when we're on modified sun salutations, we'll inhale, lift up. And exhale, dive it down. Inhale, halfway. And now left leg back. As you exhale, step it long and drop the left knee. We'll inhale, sweep the hands overhead. Exhale, plank. Try to keep your fingers spread wide. Step it back with some control and pause. Take a big breath in. Hips high as you exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right heel kicks up. Exhale, step the right foot forward this time, land it between the hands, and then inhale, perch to your fingertips as you sink the hips, lift the chest. Exhale, big step, top of your mat, both feet up. Inhaling halfway. And exhale again towards chair, bend the knees, push those hips way back, and inhale, stretch the arms out and up. Again, just a couple big breaths, push the hips back, feel that strength, that engagement in your legs. Try to relax the face. Try to steady the breath. One more full breath here. And again, without locking, we'll inhale, tiny little back bend, lift the gaze, lift the chest, and squeeze the belly, exhale, circle the hands down and around, back to your heart and pause. Take a moment, close the eyes, just reset that breath. And then blinking the eyes softly open again, we'll inhale, circle the arms. Then exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway, find some length here. And then lower the hands as you exhale, step your right leg back, and then pivot your right heel to the floor for warrior two. We're gonna inhale, lift up. So coming up, more or less your hands are above your feet. Again, a little bit of proportions in play there. If that feels weird, just find something that allows your body to feel the strength. So these warrior postures, all about being strong in your body. So you can get nice and low in the legs. I want you to feel really pretty much all of your body working, even your arms. You feel that little engagement. It's not stiff, it's soft. You want to feel that strength. And just breathe. So the rib cage, again, always free and clear as far as space for your breath. See if you can push just a little bit more into that left pinky toe. Just make sure that that knee tracks forward. One more deep breath here. We're going to flip the front palm and inhale, reverse warrior. So that front hand reaches up and back. Keep a good strong bend to that front knee. And then you can either stay with your right hand on your back leg, or you can start to loop it around to your low back, to your front hip. Have the palm face away from your body. Just give as much space here through that whole left side as you can. Take one more big breath. And then inhale, triangle prep. We'll undo the arms, straighten that front knee. Just heel toe that back foot in about one time. Give a little tuck to the front hip here. And inhale your longest reach forward. Notice the length down your left side. And then keep that length as you exhale the left hand down. So it's not about trying to get the hand as low as possible. It's about keeping that strength, that length here through the left side. Try to avoid locking out your front knee. And your front toes should pretty much be tracking forward. And breathe. On top of it all, my friends, let's breathe. It's ultimately why we're here, right? Sometimes we get lost in all the body stuff, which is Obviously a piece of it too, but keep the breath. Take one more of your deepest breaths. And we're going to stay here, but just bend your front knee a little bit. So sort of a side angle variation, that front knee now bends. And then inhale, reverse warrior. Now we cartwheel that left hand all the way up and back. And then exhale, spin your hands down onto the mat, right up to your fingertips. We're going to lift the back heel and just briefly inhale your right toes up towards the ceiling. Let your head drop. And then exhale, bend your left leg. Drop your right foot to the back of your mat. And now that right knee can come on the floor, and for a half split, we walk our hands back, we walk our hips back. You can always give yourself longer arms here by using some sort of a prop. So if you have that blanket, just fold it underneath your hands. And just try to keep a lifted chest. Again, this is one of those where a lot of times the mobility of our hamstrings is a little bit on the tighter side. So we kind of get rounded through our spine and we kind of do what we can to get here. So regardless of where you are, try to keep a fairly tall chest. Protect that low back. Let's take about 3 to 4 more big breaths. And your next inhale, rebend the left knee. Let's sink down again, lift those hands overhead. And then find your left hand. Exhale, sweep your left hand back. So just an open arm twist. You're turning in the direction of your bent knee. Take one more big breath. And we'll inhale, wind back through center. Both hands lift again. And exhale, fingertips down to the floor. Stay perched up to those little fingertips. And inhale, tuck toes, lift your back knee. Exhale, big step forward, right foot next to left, hang your head heavy. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. And now we inhale and rise, root down, lift up, take those hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep the arms. And exhale, hinge, dive down. Inhale, halfway. And now left leg back, step long. Root your left heel, warrior 2. As you inhale, push into that front leg. And as you come up, hips and shoulders start to level out a little bit. Hands reach long, but at the same time, soften a little bit. So if you can stay nice and tall through the crown of your head. Feel both of your feet working. So both of your feet, we've got those pinky toes pushing down. Another breath. And keep that front leg bent a lot. We're going to flip the palm and inhale, reverse. Take that right arm, big reach up and back. Stay low in the front knee, and you can either stay or left hand could come to your low back, could sneak around to your front hip. So what you want to feel is that left shoulder dropping when you do that. Big space through your whole right side. Take another breath. And then as you inhale, triangle prep, again, reach the arms long, give a little heel toe of that back foot. We'll reach as far as we can with the right hand and exhale, tick-tock the hands. Minimal weight in that right hand. You got a big, deep hip crease here on that right side. Left hand lifts. So find length through your spine. Feel nice and strong here through your side bodies. Always, always, always find your breath, deepen your breath. One more breath here. And then bend that front knee first, that side angle variation. We'll now inhale, reverse, right hand sweeps. Long reach through your right side and hands down to mat. As you exhale, frame your front foot, lighten that back heel and inhale, kick up. Left toes to the sky, drop your head. Exhale, now land the left foot back of your mat. Front knee bends a lot and then drop that back knee. Inhale, little release here for the leg. Walk the hands, the hips back. And again, if the floor is further away than you'd like it, bring it in. Use a prop, give yourself something to just get into it a little bit further here. And breathe. Take one more of your deepest breaths. And then rebend the right knee. We'll inhale back to lunge, sweep your hands overhead. The mental piece, find your right hand, and then exhale, right hand back. Just pause for a deep breath here in your twist, still squaring and dropping your hips. And then inhale, wind it back up, both hands to sky. Exhale, both sets of fingertips down to the mat. So let's take one more of those real low active lunges here as you inhale, lift your back knee, keep your chest tall. And exhale, big step forward, top of your mat. We'll inhale it up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Root your feet, reach your hands, and a tiny back bend as you exhale, cactus the arms, lift the chest. Squeeze the belly and inhale, hands back overhead. Palms come together and exhale, hands to heart. Pause, just give it a big clearing breath, soften your knees a bit. And inhale, lift up, hands overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale it halfway. And down dog on exhale, hands step to the mat, feet move to the back of your mat. Your tail wags as you give a big pedal of the feet. Take another breath in. And then drop to your knees as you exhale. Let's widen the knees a little bit for child's pose and just release. Hips push back towards your heels, elbows and forearms, comfortably resting on your mat. Your forehead connecting to your mat as well, or if it doesn't quite connect to your mat, then put something under it. Fold your hands under your forehead or your blanket. But try to get enough space between the knees here that you can just really easily drop your hips back. You can just really let your torso sort of sink into that space. Flip side of that, if it feels like it's a little too wide apart, you can always bring them back in a little bit. So it's like everything else, a little bit of a balance. So do what you can do. We'll take about another 3 breaths like this. And then your next inhale, walk your hands a little further forward. We're going to walk hands to the left. So as you exhale, crawl your hands over to the left. Maybe they're still on your mat. Maybe they come off your mat. Reposition your head so that you can really get some good length here through that right side. And then push your right sit bone back a little bit. Breathe. That next inhale, hands back through center, lengthen. We're going to walk the hands all the way to the right as you exhale. Again, just repositioning the head, this time really pushing the left sit bone back. And then inhale it back through center. Nice and long through the arms. One final time, just stay here. Big exhale. And your next inhale, rise. Come back up onto all fours. Give a little reset of your spine. So roll, cat cow, shimmy, shake it out. We're going to come to seated here for just a little more release to the hips and the shoulders. So you can either take a folded blanket or roll up the back of your mat, something to elevate the hips here. But elevating is always a good thing because it does give you just a little bit more of that forward tilt of your pelvis. You can sit on a block, any other props you might have are fine too. But sitting close to the edge of your prop here so that your hips just subtly roll forward. And let's start with our right leg crossed in front. So however you're positioning the upper body, see if you can put your right leg in front here. Just take a moment, roll your shoulders back, and we're going to inhale, reach those arms straight out to the T, and then round your spine as you exhale. So clasp your hands together, push your knuckles straight forward, push your shoulder blades straight back. Give a little more space between your shoulder blades so you really do have that kind of C curve, that C shape here to your spine. Take just a couple big breaths. And then on your next inhale, keep the arms, lift back to a neutral spine. We're going to take the hands overhead and then flip the palms so that your hands, your palms, point up towards the sky. Elbows can be soft here. A lot of times here we stiffen and we shrug our shoulders. So you just want to always make sure that your neck, should you want to move it, you could. And breathe. Try to feel an even connection of each of your sit bones. Feel that good length here through your sides. Let's take one more deep breath. And then inhale, let go of the hands. You can look up if your neck's okay with that. Stretch long. Big exhale, bring the hands down. So from here, we're going to get into the hips just a little bit more. So your first option is going to be to stay in Sukhasana and start to walk the hands forward into a forward fold to target that probably right outer hip. Now, if you want a little bit more intensity, your back leg, so your left leg, you're going to bring that heel over towards your opposite sit bone and then take your front leg, your right leg, and wrap it on top. So instead of that kind of traditional crossed leg, you've got your Gomukhasana, you've got your knees more or less stacked. Now, a lot of times this makes things get not so level with the sit bones. If it is, come back to that first option or sit on something higher, but you have the same choice. You can start to come forward a little bit here, whichever option you're taking with the legs. And just please, for the more type A folks, remember that more is not always better. So just because you can go deeper doesn't mean you should. So if changing the shape of your legs doesn't feel great, truly take the position that feels good to you, that feels like you're getting a little somewhere, but we're not pushing, we're not forcing, we're not going in too deeply. Let's take just a couple more big breaths. And then on your next inhale, roll up. Bring it all the way to your tallest seat. Expand and lift the hands overhead. Big breath out. Bring your hands back down. Release the arms down. And we're going to switch the cross of your legs. So however you had the legs positioned, just take it out. Give a little shake. You can even use your hands. Roll your ankles. Do what you can to just let some of that go. And we're going to come into the opposite cross. So this time it's going to be, we'll just start in Sukhasana. So your left leg crossed in front. Still pretty close to the edge of your prop, still kind of getting that little forward tilt for the pelvis. Let's take a big breath in, reach those hands overhead. And then left arm underneath as you exhale, wrap the arms together, that eagle wrap of your arms, or you can take a bear hug. So if that eagle wrap is just a little bit too much, you can just grab your opposite shoulders. But really for everybody, see if you can keep those shoulders back and down. Try to stay fairly open here through the front of the chest. I know that's easier said than done when we're squeezing in, but you just want to make sure, again, shoulders back and down, just encourage yourself to keep space for your breath. One more breath. We're going to inhale just right out to a T, take those arms out wide, pull them back ever so slightly, and then right arm underneath this time as you exhale. So wrap your right arm under your left arm, either the bear hug or the eagle bind. Keep your breath strong. One more breath here. And then undo the arms. Let's inhale, reach right back out once again. And as you exhale, pull the elbows in and down just a little bit, lift the chest just a touch. You can look up. Take one more breath in. And exhale, should just feel good. Let those arms drop. Sit up nice and tall, and we're going to come into that forward. Well, you can stay here, or you can come into a forward fold again. So either setting your belly in towards your lap, keeping the legs as they are, or again, if you were wanting that little extra intensity, right heel towards left sit bone, left knee more or less stacked on top of right, but still grounding both of your sit bones to your prop here. Just hinge, fold your belly towards your lap, let your head be comfortable. So you can let your head drop if that feels okay. You can also use a block or some sort of prop to support the head. And try to stay soft with it. So especially if you are like most and feeling, some intensity, some stretch, some pull in your outer hips, just breathe through it. One more big breath. And then inhale, roll up. One final time, all the way to a tall seat. Let's lift those hands above the head, interlace the hands. And to the base of your skull as you exhale, drop your head into your hands. You can let your elbows widen. Just open that front of the chest. Take another breath in. And exhale, release, bring the hands down. Anything you're sitting on, you can either roll your mat back up or just set your prop off to the side. Let's unwind the legs and just briefly, or not briefly, we're gonna stay here, but come down onto your back. Kick your feet to the sky and push a little bit through your heels. Your hands can either just rub onto the hamstrings a little bit for a little bit of a massage, or you can just allow your hands to support. Take another big breath. And then knees to chest, take a big inhale. And exhale, knees to your left, just 3 breaths. Knees drop to the left, arms reach to a T. One more inhale. And exhale, strong core, knees back to center. Hug the knees in, and again, nice deep breath in. Exhale, knees to the right. Arms long, just 3 big breaths. One more breath in. And exhale from the belly, knees back to chest, come back to center. Take a big breath in. Squeeze it tight one final time. And forehead to knees as you exhale, curl in, squeeze tight. Take one more big breath in. And exhale, head and feet back to mat. Give yourself just a little windshield wiper here and start making your way into your final Shavasana. So if there is a remaining pose or stretch or bit of movement you'd like, take a couple breaths to do that, but really just start getting comfortable. Find yourself in just the most comfortable shape that you can here, taking up as much space as you need. No right, no wrong. Feel free to spread out just a little bit. Use any props that help you feel comfortable and together. Big breath in here, deepest inhale you can possibly take. Pause just a moment here as you hold on to the breath. Big exhale. Release every single drop, and now truly giving yourself the space, the permission to just drop in, release, and let it all go. And start to notice, start to deepen your breath once again. Just take in a little bit more breath, find a little bit more space for that breath. And as you reawaken, just small movements, you can give some little wiggles of your toes and your fingers. A gentle roll of your wrists and of your ankles, slowly shake the head no. And then inhale, full body reach. Let's stretch, lengthen the body long. As you exhale, knees bend, hug your knees straight to your heart, squeeze tight. Big breath in. And as you exhale, roll to either side, wherever you're most comfortable, and then just pause there to find a breath. Eventually pushing down into that top hand, just start to feel your way up and make your way into a tall seat. Just finding some space to breathe. Settling hands into your heart space, feeling the connection of the palms. And finding a moment here for gratitude. So some gratitude towards yourself for making the time this morning to find your practice, to do good things for your body, for your mind. We'll end with a final shared breath. That next inhale, arms are going to sweep overhead. Take a big long stretch, connecting palms. Exhale, hands to heart. Thank you so very much for showing up here this morning, whether in person or virtually, to share your breath, your energy, your practice, and just have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Let's have a beautiful day. Thanks for coming in. Thanks. Thank you to everyone. You guys have a good day too.